Good afternoon, everybody, and my name is Gielen, and I'd like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present Medace. We call ourselves an accessible clinical development and manufacturing hub. But before I go into what we actually are, I'd like to start by saying why we started Medace. Both Danielle, our CEO, and we've been involved with startups for over a decade. And we've got some great insights and the challenges that startups run into, especially these days, but I think it's a given throughout the industry. Acquiring funding for all the development work, especially going into the clinical stage manufacturing, is extremely hard. If you have to go to an investor, ask for funding to do a capex investment in facilities, pretty sure that in an early stage you're going to be rejected. The ownership of a facility and all the equipment that we required also has a high cost burden. And obviously finding all the knowledge and the resources to serve all the different parts of the aspects of clinical manufacturing, like regulatory quality, is extremely hard. So what we try to do in an innovative concept in Medace is to figure out how we can help these emerging companies to tackle all of these challenges by at the same time staying flexible and as much as possible keep costs as low as possible. And what we came up with is a new model which kind of incorporates best of both worlds. So we looked at the CDMO model, we looked at the model where you are doing everything yourself as a startup, and we merged and looked at how we can create a new concept. It's still quite unique. Our services and products in itself are not that unique. We offer R&D labs, equipment, we offer clean rooms for manufacturing, and we offer all the specialized services such as quality, regulatory, and operational support. This is just a snapshot of our facility. So we have a facility of over 2,000 square meters in Maastricht in the Netherlands, where I've explained the facilities that we have here. Important thing to note is that we both serve the medtech market and the biotech market. So if you look at the blue area, those are the clean room facilities for medical devices. And if you look at the yellow area, those are the clean rooms for all facility or all manufacturing falling under the GMP regulations. And the rest are supportive and adjacent facilities. We have a proven track record. We've only existed for about 5 years, but we've worked with over 60 companies in that time period. And for those of you who don't remember, first 2 years of our existence were right in the COVID times, so business was quite slow. So the reason why I'm showing this is that it clearly shows that there's a need for early stage startups for such a unique concept. Now, rather than going about what we do, I thought, why don't I give you 2 examples of 2 of our clients that we've worked with for over the past few years and showed you what they were able to achieve. And the first company I want to present to you is a company called RiboPro, company from the Netherlands based in Oss. They are a manufacturer of mRNA-based products. They're not a therapy developer, so they really focus on the manufacturing and the development of the mRNAs themselves. Founded in 2020, and they were initially focused on the R&D market. And as you can imagine, with COVID, there were also some winners when that happened. The business really took off, but the big challenge for them is how can we move into a more regulated field so that we can also serve therapy developers that are working on mRNA's products. They had literally no knowledge, no experience whatsoever. So we started working with them about 2.5 years ago. And the way we work is that we have a very flexible model, but it's also a work-learning concept. So we're not a CDMO where you do a tech transfer from knowledge from the company to us. We actually work the other way around. We don't strive to be experts, in this case, in mRNA products. We strive for mRNA producers to become experts in GMP clinical manufacturing of their product. So what they did is they engaged us in a trajectory to set up GMP manufacturing as soon as possible. We trained their personnel, we expanded their knowledge, and over time, responsibility also shifted from our team to their team. So we still have people in our team working in their teams, but over time, you see that involvement decreasing. And the best thing is, because we had operational clean rooms ready for them to use, by the time that they had their first clients who required GMP manufacturing, and with the knowledge that they built up together with us, they were ready to move into those clean rooms at an ad hoc approach, meaning that for them, these are also early stage projects where they don't occupy a clean room full time. They have to do a first proof of concept for their clients. And it's that flexibility that we offer, that they can rent these spaces if and when they need them. And then obviously there's a lag time and a downtime. And that's where they don't have the burden of the high cost of ownership of facilities. The good thing is that they have a platform technology, so it doesn't stop with one client, and all the knowledge that they build up with one particular project, they can now expand over more projects and clients for helping them grow their business. And obviously, since we're a commercial company, that rubs also on us as well. So their services package with us expands. Another example I like to present here is a Swedish company called Biomedical Bonding. They have a platform to make patient-personalized composite-based fixators, so an alternative to all the titanium plates that are currently being used. And the company, when we met them, literally told us, look, we've done all the development work that we can do in an R&D setting, in our own labs, in our own facilities close to their academic institute. What we need is to test everything out in a clean room. But we have no idea where we're going to what we're going to run into, and we can't find easy accessible clean rooms, which is normal, right? Because most companies, because it's such a restricted environment, don't just like companies to come in, play around, quote unquote, and then see if what they try to actually works. Now that's the model that we work. So we offer them the proposition. And this is actually a snapshot of their people. So 3 of their employees who took over or came over to Maastricht for 3 months and literally tested everything out in a clean room environment. And they said, if it fails, then we learned something. We have to go back and do some more R&D work. If it's successful, then we can actually manufacture the first few hundreds or few thousand products, which we need for tox studies, packaging, and all other kinds of studies. And fortunate for them, that's what happened. So after 3 months, with 3 people with our support, they were able to do a first non-clinical manufacturing to do all the follow-up testing. That testing is being concluded as we speak, and then they can come back and do their first clinical batch for starting clinical manufacturing. And the final example, which is really dear to my heart, is a South African startup called Moriano Innovations, driven by Dr. Lipalo, a specialist orthoplasty surgeon. And as we can all imagine, facilities and resources in Africa are much more limited than what we're used to here in Europe or in the US. And he needed a specific piece of equipment, and it could not be found anywhere in South Africa or even close by. So he reached out to the supplier of that equipment. It's a joint simulator. What this instrument does, it can mimic every joint movement in the body. And they said, look, you know, these are highly expensive piece of equipment. We can't just give you one, or we can't just ship one. But we have a company in the Netherlands who will build a model, who are using this instrument already. Why don't I get you in contact with them? So we reached out to him, and he said, this is the testing that I need to do. Wasn't entirely sure about the type of testing and the outcome that he was striving for. So that's where we, together with the supplier of the instrument, put in some knowledge ourselves. And together with them, we set up the testing. And initially, he used resources locally in Maastricht. So he hired a researcher to do some testing for him. And then sometime later, he came over to do some supporting testing. And that to me shows again that a flexible model where you combine the strengths of the researchers, of the startups, the clinicians, and surround them with all the adjacent expertise that is needed, can really drive innovations forward. And that's also our slogan. And that's what we live by day. You know, we accelerate biomedical innovations, but together. We can't do this alone. Companies can't do this alone. Our long-term goal is to not grow Medace in Maastricht in the biggest facility possible. We want to have the facilities in different hubs across Europe and obviously, hopefully also in other regions, perhaps the US, but definitely also thinking about emerging countries. It would be our biggest pleasure if we could support people like Dr. Di Paolo close to where they operate. So currently we're discussions going on in the London area, Switzerland, and another region in the south of Europe, which I can't name. And that's also where we want to have some similar facilities like ours. And that is our story. I'd like to thank you for your attention. And if there's any questions, happy to take them.